Alrighty, we are here live with the season 7 installment of the Winner's Circle. I am so excited that we have 5 of our 6 winners. Unfortunately, Katie, winner from season 1, was not able to join us, but if you want to hear from her, you can always tune in to the Road to Second Chance season 1 installment. She was able to join us for that. So that means that chronologically, our first winner who is with us tonight is season 2 winner Andy. Andy, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Evan. Thank you for having me here in the winner's circle. We're back.
We are back. So happy to have you. And of course, our winner from season 3, Justin. How are you, Justin?
Hello, hello. It's good to be here. Good to be back with Andy again. Good to have a bit of a larger contingent with us. It's going to feel a little more like a circle this time. So I'm excited to virtually meet all the other winners that I haven't met before and talk a little bit about our respective seasons and the cast we got coming up for season 7. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited.
It's looking fantastic. And now our winner from Blood versus Water season 4, Chris. How are you, Chris?
Hey guys, glad to be here. I'm glad to talk to y'all about this upcoming season, and it should be a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me. This should be great.
Absolutely. And now someone who may or may not be eating dinner, but nonetheless, we're so happy to have you. How are you, Sarah?
I have finished my dinner, so I'm feeling great, feeling full and refreshed. Very excited to be here. This is so professional. I'm glad that of all of the crazy allergies I played, this is the one that I won and get to continue participating in. So yeah, really excited to talk about this with you guys.
Yeah, you're actually stuck. You never get to leave. Being a winner, you're like, you have
Cool.
to do this every season. It's in your contract.
Happy to be here.
And now, our most recent winner, who in the matter of just 2 or so weeks will be passing off the crown, welcoming season 6 winner, David. How are you, David?
Hey, Gavin, and hey, everybody else. Nice to finally meet you all. Doing well. Excited for this upcoming season.
We are so excited, of course, for the players. You all are watching this after the game has already unfolded, but we are filming this on the National Day of Mourning where we lost just last night in Survivor CBS. Sorry, is this spoiling for anyone?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Sorry, rest in peace, both Rick Devens, but of course, most of all, Surrey Fields. We lost 2 great ones last night, so we're all a little downtrodden, but luckily we've had this to look forward to power us through the day. We are starting off season 7 with 2 tribes of 10. They are going to remain in these 2 tribes throughout the entire pre-merge phase of the game. We're going to start off with the first tribe, which is going to be the Floralia tribe. They're going to be donning these beautiful orange buffs with a floral pattern on them. By the time they're watching this, they'll understand the significance of that. All of our buffs are themed around Pasadena, which is where the park is. So the Floralia theme is around the Rose Bowl, flowers, and of course, flowers also represent growth. And that's important for a second chance season. Wow, look at that. Okay, so the first player who is in the Floralia tribe comes from our very first season, and it is Nirvana. Since Katie's not here to provide a little, I don't know, insight, I'll just provide it for you all. So Nirvana was someone who had never watched Survivor before when she played season 1. I would venture so far as to say that she probably still has not watched a single episode since season 1. But she is nonetheless very excited to be joining. She is super fit. She's in the gym like constantly. I see on her Instagram story. She and I did a Tough Mudder probably like a year or 2 ago. So she's super active, super fit, and I think could prove herself to be an asset in the challenges. In terms of performance, she got 4th place in that game, and actually in like this weird twist of whatever, there were 3 women. There was Katie, who went on to win the game, another Katie Osterhout. There was Guy, and then it was Nirvana in the final 4. The 3 women had decided that they wanted to see a woman be the first winner of the series. And so their plan was at Final Four, okay, we'll get Guy out. But then, of course, what does Guy do at the Final Four? He goes on to win individual immunity, which shatters their plans. Nirvana felt like she had played a very good game to that point and basically just said, if it's a tough decision, I'm not sad to go out here. So Nirvana gracefully actually almost offered herself up as the person to be voted out there, which led to having two Katies and Guy in the final three. I asked her during the preseason interview whether she had any inclination of potentially doing that again should she find herself in that situation, and she said that there is no chance in hell that she will be giving herself up at the Final Four. She's in it to win it. She understands what the second chance theme is. I know that you all don't really know much about Nirvana at this point, but does anyone have any first impressions based on that description?
Well, I think it's always interesting when someone's not like a huge fan of the game and plays these games, because they come in with like a different perspective of what the rule, like, I feel like if you watch a ton of Survivor, you have like the rules in your head, right? Like, this is how people play. This is what you should do. But when someone comes in with like, having watched no Survivor, you sometimes get some really interesting, creative, like different strategies, which I think can really add to the dynamic of the game. So I'm excited to see what Nirvana does. Yeah,
I think that this cast has some like LRG legends on it and people that are really insulated in the community. And somebody like Nirvana is one to watch because they're all going to be coming in kind of aiming their guns at each other. And, she's someone that could just kind of slide to the end that way.
Yeah, I could see there being like almost like a sweet spot where if Nirvana survives maybe the first three boots, she makes like a really deep run because other people will just sort of not be looking at her like David said, compared to the other people they know and they've played with. Like, no one except Guy has played with Nirvana before, so there's less of that I'm coming in with a predetermined view of you that I need to try and work around. Now, early, if because one of their tribes is going to lose the first immunity challenge, so that could put them at a rough spot like very early in the game. But again, if they make it through round 1, round 2, round 3 and start getting like some insulation from their relationships, it's a good spot to be in for Nirvana or for Guy on the other tribe.
Definitely. I've thought about that a lot. I think that that's like both one of the best parts about this season is that for the people who maybe don't know as many people as someone else, being in a large tribe gives them some space to maneuver. Whereas I think that if they started on smaller tribes, there would be much less incentive for the people who might know each other to deviate from their pre-game relationships. But that's also scary because it means that after the first immunity challenge, literally half of this cast is going to be vulnerable to be voted out. So it's almost dangerous in a different way. So I'll move us along. We have 20 people to get through. So I'll move us along to Tay now, who is the next player who is on Floralia. Tay, of course, coming in from season 2. Andy, you want to tell us a little bit about your experience playing with Tay?
I mean, in honor of Surrey Fields, Tay is the Surrey Fields of the season. Tay was 4th place also, which was like just went out. I sent her to the puzzle, and that like Tay was winning the game if she won the puzzle. So and like there wasn't a person who wasn't rooting for Tay. I think everybody likes Tay, so I think Tay will be able to insulate herself, make connections quickly. She's the only person from my season on that tribe, but I don't think that that's necessarily going to work against her. I think she'll be able to pick up people like Nirvana, people who aren't as connected, I think, pretty quickly. So I have high hopes for Tay.
Yes. I would agree with that. I think that Tay is a really interesting player because of the fact her story is entirely unique in Survivor LA in the sense that there's only been one forced fire making ever, and that she is the only victim to forced fire making. And Andy's right. Like the jury was all very visibly disappointed when Tay lost. I think that it was a strong final three, but I also think that there are a lot of jurors that would have been very happy to see Tay sitting at the end, because testament to her, she played a fantastic game. So
Yeah.
very interesting to see.
Wait,
So
it
let's move in-
wasn't.
Oh,
It wasn't
no.
like the final four in ours where it was Lexie that. Oh, okay. It was a different situation. Okay.
Yeah, because this, so like with
Force fire.
it was forced, yeah, so it wasn't
Got
the
it.
result of a tie at 4.
Okay. But I have
Yeah.
heard about Tay. Just in the LRG community, I heard that she's an amazing player. So I'm excited to watch her play.
You know, Tay's exciting because she, I think, is well known. But she said that she hasn't really played any major games since season 2 of Survivor LA. So like this is really her first foray in a couple of years to get back into this. And she actually, I sent out an email recently to the cast just with the link to the Road to Second Chance episodes for them to watch, and Tay was like live tweeting me basically her thoughts as she was watching every episode. And so Tay is like getting into it, I think, which is always exciting.
That's cool.
Let's get into season 3. Season 3 has a fairly sizable contingent here on this cast. Season 3 has many players who are deserving of a second chance. The first one we're going to talk about is Corey. Justin, Corey obviously had one of the biggest, flashiest moves that's been made in the history of Survivor LA. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that move and maybe what your experience was with Corey in the game?
Yeah, so Corey starts on the opposite tribe from me, and the big move Gavin's referring to is at our merge vote. Somehow there's almost a near consensus on Corey. I don't know why, because I'm not strategically doing knowing what the other tribe's doing. I'm just glad it's not coming my way. And Corey plays Gavin's podium as an idol, and turns out Gavin's podium is an idol. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it's nine votes for Corey. I don't know the count, but all of a sudden, Corey is safe, and Teresa gets voted out at the merge vote of our season, which was immediately an all eyes on Corey situation if you weren't watching him before.
Yeah, what are our thoughts on like players who almost like the Rick Devens style of gameplay, right? Where their game really happens at Tribal Council. They are into the flashiness of things.
Thumbs up.
I feel like it can be a liability for this for this specific game where you're bringing everyone back. I feel like it's a lot of unpredictability.
I feel like though, like if it's your second time playing, like just go for it. Like these games are like one day long. You know, you're not out there for like 39 days. So
well, I mean, the horses are already out of the barn, right? Like you might as well.
The horses are already out of the barn. No, that's fun. I didn't know he did that. Someone tried to do that on our season, I think. But
yeah,
the podium was just a podium.
I remember that. Yeah, so like we had a plan where we were going to hide. We did hide an advantage or a clue that basically led to the notion that the thing that was on the podium was an idol. Corey didn't find this thing. He just was like, he had this sense that votes were coming on him. He knew he didn't have an actual idol in his pocket, so he was like, I don't know, whatever. And so it turned out that he was correct, and that was a fantastic moment. Okay, this next player that we're going to talk about is also from season 3 and has one of the more tragic, I guess, trajectories, because I think that maybe Jesse, who we're going to talk about, doesn't get voted out if the person who was supposed to show up showed up, but because they didn't, there was an alteration in the numbers at the start, which meant that we had to change the structure of when the swap happened and all things like that. And so anyways, we wind up having Jesse who gets voted out in the pre-merge phase of the game, and crazily enough, her tribe throws a challenge in the pre-merge phase of the game in order to vote Jesse out of the game, which is one of the few times that this has happened in Survivor LA, at least to any successful degree. Justin, what do you remember about playing with Jesse?
Oh man, I remember I loved playing with Jesse from the little time we got together. I remember just the fact that like we played a round with Jesse. It wasn't immediately like the swap happened and we were like, okay, Jesse, you're down numbers in the swap. We're gonna vote you out. We had a whole round to like get to know her and play with her. And for that round, like I feel like we had a pretty good relationship. And I of course love Jesse as a person. I'm not sure how much you want to talk about like your Big Brother game that you also host, Gavin. But from doing production on Gavin's last Big Brother game, I've seen both like Corey and Jesse play again, separate of Survivor Los Angeles season 3. And Jesse puts on a really great showing, making it to the final 2, playing a really incredible strategic game. And sort of having difficulty pitching to the jury at the end, I find being one of the few flaws I see from her the entire day. And that's something she and I have talked about like how she feels public speaking isn't maybe one of her strengths. But I say that to say I've seen Jesse with like her back against the wall, and I've also seen her in a really good sort of dominating position. And so I know Jesse's capable of making a really strong run. And so, yeah, I think I'm more interested to see how Jesse does in an end game, knowing like what it feels to come so close to winning an LRG, and then having ultimately your pitch to the jury, your final tribal council, be what sways. I mean, not to get nitty gritty, but it's a 5-4 vote. Jesse loses by 1 vote in it could have gone either way. So I wonder if that's another like chip she has on her shoulder walking into season 7, as well as like how she played in season 3.
I also think Jessie is somebody that a lot of people might know on this cast, but in a good way, because I feel like she's a familiar face that's friendly, and there's probably a lot of people here that want to work with her. So I could see her going really deep in this game. Because she did
Yeah.
production for season 6, right?
Oh,
Yeah, she's been on prod since season 3. So yeah, she
Mhm.
has some level of exposure with everyone in 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's gonna help her.
It's so funny to compare that to like the Corey effect, Gavin, that I've talked to Corey about. And I know you've also talked to Corey about, where like Corey walks in a room and people just assume threat like before he even opens his mouth. And Corey is extremely capable, extremely smart player. So it's not all unfounded, right? But it's like it's just so hard to walk around with, as I'm sure like y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's like it is really interesting because you do have both of them have a similar thing going for them in the sense that they have some level of exposure with everyone in 4, 5, and 6 because both of them were on production for those 3 seasons. But I think that for whatever reason, Corey does just have that vibe of someone who you could see being threatening. And I think that people, and I don't know to what degree people might almost underestimate Jesse's ability, but people have to really watch out for her because in that Big Brother game, not only did she have a phenomenal social and strategic game, but she also pulled out clutch competition wins when she needed to, which helped bring her power in the game. And so I think if she's able to bring all these pieces together again, just like she did in the Big Brother game, and really build that self-confidence early enough in the game, I think that that alone is going to be enough to propel her. And I'm very interested to see how she's going to navigate working with people who she might know but might find threatening versus people that she doesn't know, like a Nirvana or like a Tay, and how she's gonna navigate all that stuff will be very interesting to watch. All right, Chris, we're getting into your season now. Blood versus Water. We have 3 people returning from season 4. 2 of them are on this Floralia tribe. The first is one of the players that I'm personally most excited to watch because I just love his story from season 4. And it is Bill. Bill started this game playing with his daughter Aubrey, who is also playing this season, and we'll get into that dynamic later when we talk about Aubrey. But Bill was voted out first in season 4, and there was an Edge of Extinction twist introduced in that season. Bill was on the Edge of Extinction. It was a warm day too throughout that entire season practically, and then once, or the pre-merge, and then once the merge hit, wins one of the first battle back challenges from the Edge of Extinction. And then from that point moving forward, despite having met no one other than who was on his starting tribe, he survived to the final 6. So Chris, what do you remember about Bill?
I remember Bill being just a sweetheart on top of everything else, but leaves first thing. It was really sad to see him go because we just met, and then sticks around all day to cheer on his daughter. Comes back in, plays it all the way to the 6th round. I helped vote him off, I think, it was very fun, and I'm glad he gets a third shot at winning Survivor here after his Edge of Extinction. But it was. Pretty strong player, came back in. I know when my brother came back in, it was very hard getting his bearings. It was very cool to see Bill do that and do it so well. So I'm excited to see him, and I know we're about to talk about Aubrey here in a second, but I'm excited to see that dynamic and whether or not it works in their favor or doesn't, because it definitely didn't work in his favor the first time.
To add some color to Bill's character as well, and then I would love to hear from other people as well what their thoughts are on someone like Bill. But Bill's also in his 60s, and I would say Bill's also a very active person, though. Like, he likes to go hiking a whole bunch. He lives in Tennessee. He's flying to LA to play this game, which is crazy. So he was telling me in his preseason interview that he works out at the same gym that Q works out at. So he was talking to Q about how he's going to be coming back to this Survivor game and was getting some tips from Q. But anyways, all that to say, Bill is like one of those is one of those players who will also be really underestimated. And I hope that people don't on this tribe single him out solely based on his age, because he can be a fully capable contributor to challenges. But what are your all thoughts on seeing Bill return?
I think that it sounds like someone like Bill can have like a real shot on a returner season where they might, like, because people are always looking for something to like pick to vote someone out, and when you don't know anybody, when nobody knows anybody, something like age can like really come to the forefront. But when a lot of people know each other, all of a sudden there's like people already have ideas of who's a threat. They know people. They're not trying to figure out everyone. So in that kind of dynamic, I feel like Bill could actually do really well. Could either lay back or just make good connections, because sounds like his sweetheart stay, right? Especially on a returner season.
Any other thoughts on Bill?
Well, I am a huge Aubrey fan, so I am excited to talk about Aubrey a lot. But I think Bill is going to be okay on this tribe. I think he will get picked up by people instead of being targeted first. That's my gut, because we'll get to season 6, but like you have 3 forces right there that I don't see necessarily all wanting to work together. So I could see like the numbers, like you need someone like Bill to like form an alliance. So that's just my thoughts.
I can totally see that. I think that Bill is someone who early in the game will be totally like, go with the flow, I'll do what you all want me to do type of a vibe. And so for the people who might come into the game having their targets set already, you're right. I think that Bill is going to be someone who they can just kind of pick up, and Bill might actually turn into a pretty hot commodity. Let's talk now about Arianna, who is also from season 4. Arianna had a bit of a quieter storyline throughout Blood versus Water. Arianna was voted out before her cousin Jalen, and Arianna was a member of the pre-merge phase of the game. Arianna is very eager to return, has been following Survivor pretty closely, is a Survivor fan. Arianna is also a bartender, and in her pregame interview, I was asking her a little bit about what she would change from the first time that she played, and she said that she felt like she wasn't playing with enough intention. Basically, was that she felt like she was kind of just going along with what other people wanted to do, but she wants to be a little bit more active this time and really be conscious about how is this move going to impact me, not just now, but how is it going to impact me in a few rounds from now. So that'll be interesting to follow. Arianna, since she was eliminated in the pre-merge and Bill was eliminated round one, they had like no crossover. So even though they're from the same season, that's not going to really help them at all. I guess they spent a little bit of time on the edge together, but I think it was literally like a round or two. So anyways, Arianna is someone that'll also be interesting to follow. What would you all, I'm curious how you all would react. This goes for a couple of these players who maybe don't have the biggest name, but, and so like, would you find, I guess it's like the question of like, do you prefer the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? Like, do you think you would find yourself inclined to work with someone like Arianna, basically, over someone that you may have already known? Not everyone all at once.
I think I see a lot of, I mean, upside for the like potential like Nirvana, Tay, Jesse, Arianna coalition like that I could see forming just in terms of and I mean I'd love to hear more from you and David about like the season 6 of it all on that tribe, but I have a sense that like there will be people with agendas coming into any returning player season. And if you're not the target of that agenda, you can be useful to it. So it might be those players that end up in the best situation, especially if you're not like tribe swapping. I could see those players being very valuable allies to other people in their starting tribe.
Just like I'm trying to figure, because we haven't talked about anyone who's going to be like the leader of this tribe yet. Like there's it sounded like Corey has like a big personality and can make some flashy moves, but like I'm curious to see as we come down the end here. Like you talked about dividing into faction. Like I'm curious to see who everyone thinks is going to lead those factions. Like there's going to be a divide somewhere probably. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there definitely will be. I would say that the people that we've spoken to so far, the people who I could see being most likely to really try to build some agency this early on are probably Tay and Corey. But I think that, and so because of that, I think that someone like Nirvana, like Jesse, like Bill, like Arianna are the types of people that will be very happy to just not have it be them and join those people. But I also think it gets really interesting once we get into literally the next 4 people, because I think all 4 of them have very big, bold personalities and proved on their seasons that they were willing to take a front seat in certain situations. So let's keep moving. Once we're done with all this, I think that'll be great to talk a little bit about who we think might link up here. Let's talk a little bit about Brett from season 5, one of the 3 players from season 5 who are returning to get their second chance. Brett had a phenomenal trajectory despite having met some pretty horrible misfortunes early in the game. Went to every tribal council except for one, made it somehow all the way to the final 5 despite that. At one point was on a tribe that was down to 2 people. So that's the level of misfortune that we're talking about here. So Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about Brett?
I love Brett. Brett is I'm going to struggle between the 3 people from my season, but I think Brett's my winner pick. He's just like such a fun, lovable guy. Like he's so fun to root for. Like you're going to be on a tribe with him and immediately want to be his friend, immediately want to team up with him. Like there's a reason why his swap tribe went down to 2 and he was one of the 2. Like he is willing to flip where he needs to, like, but he's always going to stay in your good graces when he's doing so. Yeah, I couldn't say enough good things about Brett. Some might say he's a competition beast. I would say otherwise, but he did win like 3 immunities or something crazy. But he's very bad at throwing a tennis ball into a bucket.
That is true. And that is it's an LRG staple skill you've got to have.
Yeah.
What a
Um,
kryptonite.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's no way. The only way I think Brett is going to go out early is if people see him as like, oh, he's really friendly and like kind of loud, and we think he could do some damage later on. Like, I think that's the only way he goes out early, because otherwise, like, he's just going to make friends really fast and he's going to be insulated for a long time. So I have a lot of good hope for Brett.
Anyone else familiar at all with Brett or have any thoughts on how he might interact?
I love Brett. I've played some Clock Tower with Brett. Brett's very fun. I mean, extremely charming, extremely capable. And yeah, I like Brett. I like Brett's chances in this season. I agree with Sarah.
Is Brett a strategist?
That's a good question.
I would say Brett is willing to throw things out there. I don't know if
Mhm.
I remember him as being somebody who was like driving a really complicated maneuver, but
Got
like
it.
he's not afraid to come up to somebody and say, "Hey, this is how the vote's going to go."
Right. Okay.
He's not a scared player.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if I was trying to like classify what Brett's greatest strengths are as a player, I would say it's A, his social game, and B, I would say it's his awareness. Because even though I don't remember him, aside from in the pre-merge, full credit to him to convincing people to flip on their original tribe in order to keep him safe, which is what he did in the swap and how he got down to two people. I think that in the merge he just demonstrated a pretty strong sense of awareness of what was going on, and that was how he was able to navigate to the final five. I think that if he at the final five and maybe even a little bit earlier starts to take that more active role, I could see him putting the rest of the pieces together. And potentially driving it all the way to the final three. So it's exciting. We've got three, I think, very exciting players from season 6 that are all on this tribe. It is the most number of people from the same season that we have on either of these two tribes. The first one we're going to talk about is someone who you sat next to in the final 3, David, who you were actively targeting in the final 4, trying to get Riley out of the game. Riley is a fantastic player. She was so much fun to watch. She was unashamed to say things that needed to be said. She is fantastic at puzzles. So if this tribe is looking for someone who is going to be their puzzle master, I think that Riley can fit into that role very well. But David, you worked also really closely with Riley throughout season 6, so why don't you tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, you asked the question earlier, is it better to work with the devil you know? And Riley and I had played a game together prior. And when I saw her there, I was like, oh, shoot, but I guess here we go. So we worked together the whole game, but every single time she went to vote, she's like, I got to get David out. I got to get David out. And she never did. So I think one thing about Riley is that she needs to like strike first. And there's also people that are on her tribe, like Ben and Fisher, who were also in the final 5 with her. That she needs to kind of separate her game from, I think, in order to get far, because she's coming in with a huge target on her back, I think, like one of the biggest targets of that group. And there might also be like a consensus from other people on the tribe to try to get rid of some season 6 people because they have the most numbers. I could see like a Tay doing that and Jesse. So I think Riley is going to have a lot of work cut out for her. I think she's going to have to, you know, try other avenues and not rely on Fisher and Ben.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that Riley was someone who I enjoyed watching. I mean, we included it in the little reel that we made for the season reveal, but when Riley and Munchie were working on that puzzle in the tribe phase of the game, and were really the architects of one of the greatest comebacks that we've seen, I think that moment alone propelled Riley into returning season status, let alone the fact that she played so phenomenally through the merge. And ultimately, I think if she was sitting next to anyone that didn't include David, could have really had a really strong chance to pitch her case. And I think that, yeah, I mean, that it's a testament to how she's going to be able to play. I think that of the season 6 people on this tribe, though, I think that Riley almost is the most likely to be able to branch out away from the season 6 crowd, because I think that she's aware of the target that she'll bring, because as we'll talk about, and this will be the segue, I guess, into Fisher, but both Fisher and Ben are pretty new to this world of playing these types of games, and I think are still needing to almost cultivate that sense of when people are looking at them as threats. And so I think that they may almost not be able to detect that that there's a target on their backs. So let's talk a little bit about Fisher. David, why don't another person who you sat next to in the final 3? You have your 2 finalists in on this tribe together. How do you think that Fisher is going to fare in this season, and how do you think him and Riley are going to interact?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see Fisher. He is such a social threat, in my opinion. I feel like Riley's a strategic threat and Fisher's a social threat. Um, and I think that he really wants to change his gameplay up for second chances. I think he wants to cut people that he's working with and not be super loyal to the end. So that'll be fun to watch. And I don't agree with you. I think that Fisher and Ben are going to have an easier path forward than Riley. I think that Riley is going to get targeted. I just have a feeling with this group that she's going to get targeted early. So I feel like she's going to have to put in a lot of work. Fisher, I feel like his thing is he has Ivy playing, and there are people that know that they're a couple. So if they want to take out one of them, then they might take out Fisher. We'll get into Ben after, but yeah, Fisher, I'm just so excited that he's playing again, and I want to see how he's able to change his game this time.
Absolutely. I'm most excited for that. Fisher articulated in his preseason interview that he was like, I'm gonna enter my villain arc. His whole pitch at the end, sitting next to David and Riley, was that he played a loyal game, and that was, commendable. And in fairness, it brought him all the way to the final 3, right? But I think that he's aware that he was playing a game to make it to the end, not necessarily a game to win, right? And I think that he knows that he's got to step outside of his alliances when it's going to, be his game-winning move or whatever the case may be, right? So I agree with you, David, in the sense that I think that Fisher is going to potentially have the biggest development in his character arc throughout this season.
Mhm.
All right, let's talk about Ben. Season 6 was his very first game, made it all the way to the final 5. What was your experience with Ben like, David?
Yeah, Ben was another social threat, and he was somebody that he got to final 5, and him and Riley worked really closely together. So I think that he needs to branch out this game if he wants to win. He can't rely on Riley and that relationship. And I don't know if Fisher's going to want to work with the two of them. I'm curious to see how that goes. So I think Ben, if he can get his footing, he has a good shot. But he also is really close with somebody on Tribe 2 who we'll get into later. And I could see them also linking up at a certain point if they get to Bradford.
Well, that is all 10 players who are going to be on the Floralia tribe. Let's do a little, now that we are a little bit more familiar with who each of these people are, their arcs in their original season, let's try to make some predictions here about who we think are going to potentially link up together. Who do we think is going to fare the best? Who do we think is potentially at risk of being on the chopping block early? Whoever wants to kick us off.
I think something like I'm really interested. I think Jesse and Corey's knowledge, having been on production, and so they basically know from season 3 on how everyone did everything that went on with everyone. I feel like their knowledge could really drive, like whoever links up with them will gets to know everything, right? And so that I think is really powerful. Like, knowledge is always power in these games, and those are 2 people who know everything about everyone else's games. So I think I could see them. Maybe not. I don't know if they'll work together, but kind of focusing where these votes maybe should go, at least from the outset.
I kind of fear them getting targeted early for that reason. I mean, I feel like when Corey played your big brother game, Gavin, part of what got him targeted early was people like, oh, I know he did production for Gavin's game. And I'm like, I get it, but like that's such a whack reason to be targeted early in an LRG you're playing. So yeah, my hope is that they're not targeted early for that, but it's very possible. I mean, I could see someone look at them and be like, they automatically know more than me, and that's a problem.
I was gonna say too, you have Aubrey and Ivy on the other tribe who have very strong connections on this tribe, and they're both kind of bigger players, Ivy and Aubrey. So if they want somebody out on that tribe, they might push for that agenda a little bit to, Bill or Fisher, which you guys can all speak to other connections. But I am curious to see how that plays into this as well, with those strong connections.
I'm curious what overall season of players from this tribe do you think is going to fare the best?
Season 5.
Okay, perhaps that was a foolish question to ask a group of very proud winners from their seasons.
I mean, do you think people are gonna stick with their seasons?
I don't know.
I know we're talking about the devil you know, but like if I were to walk into this room and see somebody else who I have played a full LRG with, and speaking to the people that are playing, like I played closely with all 3 of those people. So if I were to see any of them there, I would be like, let's go. We got something like beyond the game. So I don't know. I'm curious if like, because I don't know much about the other seasons. So like, do you think you said season 6 people didn't really get along? Like, do you think they're going to link up despite all that?
No.
No.
No, there's
Do
going
you
to be a
think
lot
they'll
of.
pretend to?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of pretending. I'm looking at this though. Sky is for sure on her own here. She's going to like want to do her own thing. And yeah, Bradford, I mean, we'll talk more about them but later, but I feel like this season 6 is going to clash. So, uh yeah,
That's
they
fun.
might lean on each other for like a short while in the beginning, but then it's like game on. Yeah.
I'm fairly confident the season 4 people don't know each other, so it'll be interesting
Okay.
to see if they link up.
Yeah, and I'm curious if they like, because even though they didn't meet in their season, sometimes that little thing is enough to almost like spark a connection, because you're always looking for like some sort of a similarity, especially so early in this game where you don't have days to get to know each other. One of the things that I'm really interested is about in this season in terms of how the social connections wind up forming is that with these tribe breakdowns, I almost viewed it as if I was the storyteller in Blood on the Clock Tower, where like there are so many different types of connections that you can draw both in a tribe but also across tribe lines, whether it's connections that people had in their original seasons, whether it's out of game connections or relationships. These are all things that people might choose to target someone for. And the intention from my perspective was almost to overload the number of things that someone could potentially look to target at someone, that it almost might start to free people up to say like, it'll free them up to almost step outside of their original seasons and start to look at other considerations, right? And that was sort of the ultimate goal in doing that. Okay, who do we think is going to hit the swap, which I think is like 4 or so rounds into the what is it? Yeah, it's 4 rounds into the game. Who do we think is going to hit the swap and potentially be in the best position, be best insulated in this tribe?
Are they swapping to 3?
They're swapping to no, to 2 tribes still.
Oh, okay.
I think if someone like Arianna or Nirvana can make it there, and not be targeted first, I feel like one of the 2 of them could be in really good positions to go to the end.
Yeah, you always want to go into a swap like not the top dog, but not like the bottom one either. You just want to be right in the middle. And yeah, I think I agree with David. Those are people who could be very safely in the middle. Maybe I even lump Bill in there too. as like people who could be like safely in the middle of their tribe, so they could be, if they're in the minority, they could be looked at as someone who can get pulled over, and if they're in the majority, they be able to kind of direct against the other side. So
I think I'd add Jesse to that list too, just because I feel like Jesse exudes like that you can work with her, even if you haven't in the entire game. And I mean, if that's what's coming across to people more than like you as a threat, that's a good place to be.
All right, well, we can do a more full breakdown as we continue on. We have an entire other tribe to talk about, and then, of course, some of the various things that we have in store for our players throughout the season. So this is the second tribe. This is the Arroyo tribe. They have a nice blue buff with these like waves. So it's supposed to represent water. It's supposed to represent the various rivers that we have going through LA and Pasadena in particular, because water is flowing and whatever, you got to flow to change. So cool. And let's start off back at the top with our second player returning from season 1, Guy. We got a picture of Guy's story, but to add some additional context to Guy, Guy and I played one of our like performing arts teachers in high school put on a high school survivor game for us, which was like super fun. That was truly the first time I've ever played any sort of a survivor game, and Guy and I worked pretty closely together. We went to high school together with one of our other friends. We ended up making it all the way to the end together, and as much as I hate to admit it, Guy ended up beating me at the end, which like he loves rubbing in my face because he is also someone who's not a big Survivor fan, and he knows that I'm like, I love this, and so for him it's like a point of pride where he's like, you love this, I don't really care about it, and I still beat you. So in any case, Guy has a track record of success in these types of games with people both he knows and with people he doesn't know. And Guy won, I think, 2 or 3 individual immunities in season 1. Of course, crucially at the final 4, which won his spot in the final 3. So that's Guy's story. I don't know if anyone has any major thoughts on that. I feel like he's someone we can talk more about as we paint some of the other characters here. All right, let's get into this next person who I will do my best not to be biased about. But this is Jen. We share a last name because she is my mother, so literal mother. And she played season 2. She is not quite as big of a fan of these types of like games as I am, but she watch Survivor, especially in those early era seasons when it was first coming into prominence in the mainstream culture. And she did very well. She made it all the way to the merge, to the final 10, where we do our traditional splitting into 2 tribes of 5 at the final 10. Her vote out was one of the craziest just sequences of events to try to track and follow. But essentially what happened was she was in a tribe of 5. There were 6 votes that were cast because someone pulled out an extra vote. One of her allies played an idol on herself. And so it wound up, the vote split was 2-2-2, with one of those sets of 2 being nullified. So it was a tied vote with 2 votes apiece. And then we went to a re-vote, and unfortunately, the numbers were not on her side, and so she got voted out in 10th place here. But she has been on production since season 2, really making some of the art stuff, but she's been there in person too. And so she does have familiarity with some of these people. What are our thoughts on Jen? Well, I guess I'll call you in here first, Andy, because you got some playing time with her.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to work with Jen, right? Like, it's like, I have nothing but high hopes for Jen, just because, like, there's no way you're not voting Jen out first. I mean, I don't want to put that. I have a history of terrible calls on this podcast, so I'll rescind that. But but yeah, no, like Jen is great. So I have very high hopes that she'll do amazing.
Yeah,
I love Genjo. I love Genjo down. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Sia is giving one of these players 100K at the end of the season, I know it hasn't even happened yet, but I'm voting for Jen Cho already. Yeah, high hopes, high hopes.
I'll just say I think that one of the things that might be one of her biggest strengths is the fact that because she's been on production for so long that she's going to, similar to maybe Corey and Jesse, be able to kind of reverse engineer what's been going on. And I've luckily been able to, all of our Survivor stuff is out in the garage, so it has been complete. There is a complete separation of powers here. But I have also walked out with her having watching the Road to Second Chance episodes. So she's watched all of you all talk about your seasons, and she literally has a notebook and a pen. She's like taking notes about what you all are saying. Like she's taking it really seriously. And she's also she's shared all sorts of random stuff with me. She's like coming up with a list of brainstormed words that might appear in a word puzzle. She's been practicing every puzzle that has appeared. She's found an online version of it and been practicing them. So like she's taking it seriously. She doesn't want to. Her biggest thing is she doesn't want to show up and be a liability in the challenges and be voted out for that reason in the pre-merge phase of the game. And that'll give her, in her mind, the space to build relationships with people, which for her, she says, takes a little bit longer. She's not hit the ground running with these people. So that's sort of Jen's deal. And we'll be able to talk more about how she might fit into the broader picture of this cast and of this tribe in a little bit. But let's talk about the last player who is joining us from season 2, the third player, Christopher. Christopher is also one of our pre-merge players who, to me, was just like super entertaining to watch. He had a really great positive energy about him. Andy, I don't know if you remember. I don't remember if you all ever shared a tribe or if
we did. Yeah. He was like kind of swap screwed basically, where he was swapped with, like, I think the numbers were kind of even, but he was swapped with someone else who rubbed people the wrong way, and then we lost back to back. Or I guess we lost and then we did a split, and so both tribes had to go to tribal. And like, yeah, in that, I think it was the push up holding, and Christopher, super charismatic. I don't think I think I was like almost lucky. He's one of those people, like, I didn't really want to see him go, but it's kind of lucky to have him out early because he's someone who can definitely sway people and get people on his side for later in the game. So yeah, I can see him also doing well. I mean, of course, there's bias, right? But yeah, I think Chris can really shine, especially not coming in with as big a resume as the season 6 people. 2 finalists can say, "Oh, I was pre-merge." Like, no threat here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love Chris. His preseason interview was one of the strongest, I would say, in the sense that, like, I felt like he just somehow managed to articulate how he had grown so much as a person outside of this, and how when this came up, it was like everything was aligning because he's graduating from one of his school programs, I want to say, this summer, and so this is kind of like a reward for himself. And he stayed like loosely connected with the community since then, and I'm just very excited to watch what Christopher is going to be able to bring to this season and this cast. All right, let's move on to another player from season 3. Justin, you know him very well. You played very closely with him. This is Barrett. You sat at the end with him. What are your thoughts on Barrett, Justin?
Oh, Barrett. I love Barrett. Barrett is such a great, like, I love my, like, invisible players, and I hope he doesn't take that the wrong way, but it's like, I feel like being visible and pulling off moves is so impressive, but being invisible and still pulling off moves, I think, is something I just really, really admire. I know Barrett's like played a lot of LRGs and done pretty well in some other ones too. So I don't know how he's going to be perceived going into this season, but he's another person that doesn't really strike you as like biggest threat on the board. I think that's just sort of his natural demeanor and like what helped him a lot in our game. So yeah, I think this is a tribe of heavy hitters, And I think there's a lot of threats that people will be seeing on this tribe that if they have to go to tribal council, they're like, I'm worried about this person, this person, this person. I think Barrett's probably low on the list on this tribe for being a finalist. So yeah, always rooting for Barrett. Hope he does well.
Anyone else have any experience with Barrett or exposure to Barrett that they want to add in
I've
here?
never played with Barrett, but I know who he is through the LRG community, and he is one of 7 on this tribe that are part of the LRG community. So it's going to be a battle there. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. Let's sort of round out season 3 here with your other fellow finalist, Justin. This is Liv. So you, like David, have both of your other finalists who you got to sit next to join this cast. What do you remember about Liv?
Indeed. Liv, oh man, Liv is a very impressive player as well. I think she's someone who tends to get super overlooked. And I I hope I wasn't guilty of that. She is very good socially. She just gives you the vibe of someone you can depend on. She's good at sort of putting plans into motion. I've played a game with her since, and we were like sort of immediate allies kind of working together. And she's very intelligent, very strategic, and yeah, definitely someone you want in your corner as opposed to going against you. I think she's probably decently known in the community. She hasn't come up for me super like a lot. Like I don't feel like I've heard a lot of people knowing her. Um but I also think she's in a good spot in this tribe as far as like what you're bringing compared to what you're like the target on your back is walking in. And this is someone who was one vote shy of being this little square on the podcast instead of me. And so yeah, I think Liv brings a lot socially, strategically. She like her ability to navigate situations that aren't for her, I really commend. Um because even when like she wasn't making a lot of the decisions in the post merge, that we all needed her to an extent, and I think that's a really good position that she could find herself in again.
Liv is a sneaky one. I played a Survivor LRG with her. I don't know if she was going by Liv or Olivia at the time, but she changes her name so that people don't know who she is, doesn't get recognized. She will hand you things and then want them back after, they kind of benefit her. So she's definitely sneaky and one to watch. I know that.
I played a the mole game with Liv that was like a week long type of a thing, and
Mhm.
that like she is one of the most cerebral players that I have ever met. Like she someone like they got into some like argument where they said that she had a mind like a steel trap, but it's like true in the sense that that's like a horrible like target to paint on someone's back in the mole game where it's all about taking quizzes. But
Yeah.
in a game like Survivor, you're able to kind of hide that a little bit more, I think. And Liv is really good at that because her natural demeanor is a little bit quieter, a little bit more laid back. She's not going to be up in your face, but she's also not going to be afraid to make some of these really savvy moves. Like David is saying, she absolutely is the type of person to like, here, hold my shot in the dark, but I'm going to ask for it back when I survive this vote, right? Like these
Hmm.
types of things. And so Liv is, I think, going to be a producer of some potentially really big moments. And I'm just super excited to watch her play. I'm so pumped. Um, Okay, let's move on. We are going to round out season 4 as well. Let's talk about Aubrey. I think this is going to be interesting. I would love to hear Chris's perspective, and then we'll talk a little bit about the dynamic here between both Bill and Aubrey. But Chris, what do you remember about Aubrey? She made it to the final 4,
Yeah, we
was
were
not
we were
voted out.
in an alliance like for the majority of the game. No, she made it to the final 4. I think if she wins that fire making challenge, she probably wins the whole thing. She's a tremendous player. I'm super interested to see how whether or not having Bill there is helpful or harmful. And it sounds like David knows her a lot better than me, so probably provide more context. But yeah, tremendous player. I think it was great having her on my team until it wasn't. Um, I think I'm an immunity idol away from not winning. my challenge. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm excited to see how she does.
David, you want to tell us a little bit more? You are a self-proclaimed Aubrey fan.
Yeah. Aubrey and I met in 2018 in my first LRG ever. She was my first ally in a LRG. So, big Aubrey fan. I am rooting so hard for her in this game. And she is such an amazing, like one of the best social players that I've ever played with. So, yeah, I feel like if people don't know who she is and if she can navigate her way, she is like one of the biggest threats here to win. And I'm curious to see like who she plays with and how she like works her way through this game because she always does really well.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm just already thinking. I'm like, if Aubrey and Liv link up together, I think that it's like, I mean, I'm like, the thought of that, like, if I was in that tribe and I saw both of them, I'd be like, oh no, like something's got to change. Like this, they cannot both be here. Yeah, Aubrey is just absolutely stellar. I mean, it almost an instant lock to at least final six, final five. Whenever you see her on a cast, she's just one of those players. And so
Yeah.
that being said, I do wonder. I'm curious how having her dad be on the other tribe, which will be a known storyline, at least for anyone who watches Road to Second Chance season 4, will know that they are related, and so I'm curious to see how that dynamic is going to play out. But I'm curious to hear from like maybe Andy, Justin, Sarah, you all, how you all think that dynamic, that father-daughter dynamic, might play out.
I hope we get to see it play out. Like, that's the thing is like it it might not come to that because it exists, right? Like sometimes people target someone else's loved one because they want to make a mark against them. And like, this is Aubrey that played in my season as well, right?
Yeah, she technically
Yeah.
plays season 2. Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. So she is like, yeah, crazy strategic. And I mean, I could even see her going like Sierra and voting her dad out, like if she needs to, right? Like maybe not, but like I think that she has like such a head for the game and like that like could see that just see all the possibilities. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And then but yeah, that does add a complicated dynamic with having her dad just across the way.
I think it's going to play out just as you said. I think someone's going to vote one or the other out because they're there together before they get a chance to even link back up. That is.
I'm also parasocially for me because I've never met her. I'm such an Aubrey fan as well. I remember like watching the season 2 media like before playing season 3, and immediately Aubrey was just like, oh my gosh, I love her. I love how she plays. I love how she talks at Tribal. I want to work with her. I don't want to work against her. But yeah, would love to play with Aubrey someday. She just seems like such a force and like such a calculated, charismatic, capable player that you can't not think she's gonna do well in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Aubrey's certainly receiving her flowers and very well deserved, I think, and I'm hopeful that we get to see the dynamic play out. I don't remember if I asked Aubrey directly. I asked Bill directly. I said, um, like, is there any circumstance in which you could ever see yourself voting against Aubrey? And he said no. So I'm curious how that's going to work out. But Bill, one of the main reasons why he agreed to play in the first place, well, I think that he actually might have played regardless, but he was very concerned immediately after the stream ended on his exit interview or on his pregame interview. He was like, "But is Aubrey gonna get a chance to play?" type of a thing. So he's like in it because he wants this experience with Aubrey. I think just as much as he wants to win. So I'm excited that he gets another chance to play with Aubrey, but hopefully for at least a couple more rounds than he got to in season 4. All right, Sarah, we're going back to you. Season 5, we've got 2 super dynamic players from season 5 up next. We have Jer first. What do you remember about Jer, Sarah?
I love Jer. He was one of the people who right off the bat I got such a good first impression from, because he's not like super loud of a person. He's very smart and calculated, but he also has like, you know, those kind of people you're playing with where when they talk to you, you feel like you're the only person that they're talking to. Like that's his kind of energy. And he, I'd say, was responsible for one of the biggest moves of our season. And I was very lucky to have been in like a tight alliance with him and Ivy, who's coming up next. So yeah, to me, and you know, retrospectively, because I won, I'm pretending I'm the main character of the season. I think that like Jer, and I think all three of the season 5 people were like main characters of our season. So like I'm really excited to see how Jer plays. I'm really excited to see how he integrates with everyone, because like I think he's such a like a dark horse winner pick for sure.
Yeah, when Jer was voted out from season 5, I remember hearing some talk among the jury that if Jer had been able to sit at the final tribal and really just deliver a good, you know, a solid case for himself, that like people would have been super happy to vote for him, because he had been playing a very strong sort of social strategic game. And yeah, let's talk more about let's continue our conversation about season 5, I guess, by talking about Ivy. Um, I think that Jer and Ivy were working pretty closely together, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Sarah?
Yeah, we had a 4. It was me, Jer, Ivy, and Austin. And the 3 of them had been on like the original tribe, the swap tribe, like they were together from the start. So they were a really close threesome that I was clearly on the bottom of. But yeah, I mean, Ivy, if you've met Ivy, you know, she's like such a character. Like she is very strong-willed and like very competitive, and she's also just like really cool. Like she's somebody that is really fun to be around. But she is like, she would be more than happy to be a villain in any season she's in. Like she's a badass and she's great at comps too. So I think she might be at risk of getting targeted because of either her reputation or just because she seems somebody who would be like intimidating in the game. So I'm a little worried for her at the start, but I think once she like finds her footing, I think she's like a force, like for real. And she has her boyfriend on the cast. Like, I don't know, either that's all like with everybody who has like prior relationships, like it's either gonna really work for them or really work against them. It just totally depends on like how this cast wants to like vote people out. So I don't know. I feel good about Ivy. I hope she goes far. She's fun.
I saw you come off of mute, Andy.
I was just thinking, like, what about the fake breakup as a move? What do we think of that?
We need
They
to see it.
would.
We're just
I
thinking,
feel like
just
they
like,
would.
what, could you pull? Is that a move you could try? I don't know.
In the middle of the game too.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Dude,
I could actually see Ivy voting out Fisher, but I can't see Fisher voting out Ivy. So
Same.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Ivy just has one of the strongest social games that we've seen play. I mean, Ivy came in as a relative newbie to
It was her first
these
game,
types of
I
games.
think.
I think
it
so
was
too,
her
because
first game,
I think she
yeah.
played Survivor in a day after this. So regardless, I mean, so she was a newbie in season 5. So I mean, the fact, again, testament to just how stellar she was able to play, that she was able to build a strong bond with Austin, who is an LRG veteran, someone who is known in these circles, and also connect with Jer, who I think this was also his first in-person game. I think he had played some online ones before. And so it was just, I mean, she just has one of the strongest social games and has one of the strongest personalities that I think people will find themselves drawn to. And I think that for some of them, it's going to be their demise, feeling drawn to Ivy as an ally. So I'm excited to see how she's going to be able to fare in this season. All right, let's. David, are you still here?
Yeah, I have to leave in a few, so I'm Hold on, I'm
Oh
just
yeah, you're
responding to
good.
something. But yeah,
Oh, you're good. You're good. We'll talk a little bit about season 6. We've got 2 more players from season 6. The first one up is Bradford. Bradford was eliminated in the pre-merge phase of the game. Bradford was working very closely with Caitlin and Lexie, and then in a swap tribe dynamic, it ended up being 3-3. That 3 was on one side, there's another 3 on the other, and it ended up tying. It ended up tying again, and then it ended up almost deadlocking. But there's a whole discussion where eventually it was agreed that Caitlyn would be voted out. So then it was a 3-2 dynamic. The next vote, they lost that challenge, and then Bradford was voted out. So kind of a consequence of almost being willing to let go of your ally too easily potentially. But David, what are your thoughts on Bradford?
yeah, I didn't really get to chat much with him in the game because we were never on the same tribe. But I actually feel like he's going to go really far in this game because he was pre-merge. He's not really seen as that big of a threat. And I'm curious to see how he works with some of these other legends and newbies on this tribe because yeah, I know he plays other LRGs and he's done well in some, so I can see him doing well in this one too.
He almost has the benefit of having practice, but without necessarily having the reputation of being. Because I think that he plays a lot of games, or he's played at least 2 games in Portland that I've seen, and so like he's played these games, but not necessarily with people who will recognize him as much. I don't know if he's played more in LA or not, but regardless, I think that Bradford certainly has some of the highest upside for this season. All right, the last player to discuss, but most certainly not least, one of my personal favorites from season 6, we have Skyy. David, what do you want to tell us about Skyy?
Oh, Sky is definitely one of my favorites on this cast. She and I have played 2 games together. I worked with her in both games. I love her. I am rooting really hard for her, Sky too, and I think that she's in a really good position here. I think you could add her to that if like her, Liv, and Aubrey get together. Oof, these people are in trouble. So
Mother convention.
yeah, exactly. So I feel like Sky could win this whole game. And her and Bradford, they had that that rounds, and I think she ended up voting out Bradford, but I feel like they can work past that, so I'm not really worried about that connection. And I also think Sky is definitely going to be the one of these 5 for my season that will be able to really play her own game because she's not really linked to the others like they are. So I feel like she's up for grabs. Sky is going to go far.
Sky is pretty well known in the LRG scene. Does anyone else have any thoughts on Sky?
I love Sky. I played a bunch of games with Sky, and I've always tried to work with her, and she always stabs me in the back. but I love the way that she plays. She's so low key and she's so smart. Like
Hmm.
she is always gonna go far. Like Sky is. I mean, I can't imagine her going out early in any season because like you just want to work with her. Like she just has that energy about her, and she's played so many games too, so she like knows the character types. Like she knows how to talk to everybody. I would put money on Sky any season. I love her.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love Sky as well. I think she's going to do great here. I think one of Sky's best. I think Sky will actually have a really good read of this board because she knows. I would wager she knows more of these people than know her, and that might work out in her advantage. And yeah, she navigates really well. I mean, I've never played an LRG with her, but we're good friends. I've seen her play LRGs and do very well. So yeah, rooting for Sky always.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And Sky, and also, by the way, Sky gets voted out in one of those crazy final 10 5-5 split dynamics, and but I think that Sky was absolutely not necessarily on anyone's immediate radar in that round. So I think that if we don't do that, split thing that Sky makes it further. So it's certainly deserving of a second chance, and I am so glad that she's agreed to come back. She was actually an alternate for season 6, so she wasn't even originally slated to play, but I am like so pumped that everything worked out the way that it did. So yes, in any case, let's dissect and break down the Arroyo tribe a little bit and talk about the dynamics we might see bubbling up. Just as a reminder, we've talked about 20 names, so I'll just really quickly go over the people who are in the Arroyo tribe. We've got Guy, Jen, Christopher, Barrett, Liv, Aubrey, Jer, Ivy, Bradford, and Sky. Who do we think are going to potentially link up? Or who would we like to see?
I think there are a lot of very strong-willed women on this tribe, and I am praying that that is something that benefits them all. Because Lord knows I have been on seasons where the women see each other and respect each other so much that they kick them out immediately. So I think, I don't know Liv or Aubrey, so hearing that they're both also very dominant forces, it does make me a little bit, I don't know if I'm more worried for Jen or if I'm less worried for her because she's going to be like the low-key one of the group. But I think this tribe is going to be very exciting. I think there will be fireworks.
I think Jen is going to be totally fine because I feel like she's going to be right in the middle. And you might see even like a split because these are really strong like personalities like Ivy, Aubrey, Liv, Scott. They're all strong. So I don't feel like they're going to leave Jen out. I feel like they'll use Jen. So I see her being okay. Don't worry, Gavin.
Yes.
I don't know.
I
I could
agree.
see it going. Okay.
No, you go.
I was just say I could see it going either way because like I feel like this tribe might have to implode before it settles, as opposed to like imploding afterwards. Like I feel like you're almost trying to capture so much in a bottle that I could see this tribe having a chaotic first couple rounds where all these like strong players maybe aren't looking to like rise to the top immediately. And maybe we do get like some consensus votes early on, not because that's what everyone's game plan is, but because there's just so much chaos. And I think everyone is going to want to play with longevity. So I can see both sides of the coin of like this tribe just really like having a core lock in and like start willing down the outside, or just like we see fireworks at first and then the remains kind of settle.
I have to go, but this was really fun and it was
Can we
really
get a
nice
winner
meeting
pick?
all you guys.
Do you have a
Oh
winner?
yeah.
David, winner
Oh,
pick.
this is hard. It's between Aubrey and Sky. But I'm gonna have to go with my OG Aubrey. I feel like she's gonna crush this one, and I think it will be her first win. So let's go Aubrey, but let's go Sky too.
I hear
I love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, David.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great meeting all of you, and
Yeah,
let's do
great
this
meeting you,
again.
David.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
That's me.
See you, David. All right. So let's talk a little bit more. So we're talking about how this tribe might have to implode earlier rather than later. Who do we think is going to wind up faring the best of this tribe?
I think the people that can keep a low profile, because I think that there's enough, like we kind of talk about, there might become a consensus vote, but I think that these are all savvy enough players that anyone who sees a consensus vote can always see that as an opportunity to flip numbers, right? Anytime like a whole bunch of people are like, oh, we should all do this, you can always say, well, if I can just, that means I can peel just a few people off and get someone else out. And I think that that is something that could happen here because there's enough like very savvy strategic people that might want to use those, So I think that like people like Jen, sounds like Bradford might be someone who's like kind of like could hover in that middle space. I feel like, just in the returner season like that, if you can hover in that middle space, whatever side you end up on, you're insulated from the top and the bottom. And that's like, that's kind of where you want to be.
All right. Well, I'm happy to zoom out now, unless anyone else, any final thoughts on Arroyo specifically. I have a couple other questions about the cast more broadly.
Just
Yeah.
a thought real quick. And just like I'm curious, like we're all talking about like the really strong like players we have on this tribe. And I'm curious if any sort of like mutually assured destruction kind of meat shield strategy emerges early with maybe like your Liv, your Aubrey, your Ivy, your Sky, Jer maybe of just being like if someone comes for one of us, they're coming for all of it. Like I feel like us all working together kind of diffuses whatever reputation there may be about us. And so we might have a coalition come together out of like if it's all of us, they can't vote all of us out kind of thing. Yeah, I'm
I,
curious.
I think that in these day-long games, I think that people tend to gravitate towards others who maybe play similarly to them. Um, like I don't know, like it just goes too fast, at least from my experience, to like really come up with that kind of strategy. But that like makes sense, you know, like if they're all talking to each other, my biggest fear is just gonna be for the quieter people. Especially in a season like a returnee season, because like you know these are all characters who want to like have a good, fun, big game they've all played before. So yeah, I think across both tribes, like my worries are for the people who are a little bit more low key. Yeah.
You know, that actually makes me worry. If I'm being honest, my gut about this tribe says that I think that Christopher could potentially be in trouble, and that I think I could also, depending on how it goes, as much as I hate to say, I could see my mom potentially being in jeopardy, depending on how things go. And the only reason being is I think that both of them as characters, as charismatic and great as they were, I do think that because we know just how many bigger personalities and gamers there are on this tribe, that they could potentially just get lost in the shuffle, especially just that early on. I think that the two of them are probably going to need to rely on building a close enough relationship with at least one of those people early enough so that they can be kept and brought in and almost help keep their name off the chopping block to a certain degree. But I have some. Let's zoom out. I have some most likely to questions that I'd like for us to answer about this cast. You can. I'm gonna force everyone to say at least one name for from each of these questions. You all can answer in whatever order you'd like to. Let's just start off with the pre-merge. I'm not going to be mean and say like most likely to be first boot or anything, so don't worry about that. But let's start with most likely shocking pre-merge exit. Who's most likely to be a shocking pre-merge exit?
Gosh, it's tough when I don't know these people. I did search them on Instagram at one by one as we were talking about them, so I know what they look like.
That's smart. That's next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say I'm one of those S tier level, you know.
Okay.
That's what
Forgive
they
me,
say.
Sarah. I was not familiar with your game.
Who's gonna be a shocking I feel like it's got to be one of these people who went out and like made it to the final round, right? Like I think coming in with the all returners, like that's going to be one of the things that they can cling to, you know, like, oh, you made it to the end, so obviously we need to kick you out. And I don't remember all of the names of everybody. I'm sorry, Gavin, I cannot give you a name. But
Riley was the one that came to mind who like fits that profile for me.
Right, Riley was someone who or y'all said was like a very clever strategic person. So I think there's going to be one of those like heartbreaking, no, I could have had it all names.
Because like it sounds like everyone from the season is a big threat, but I feel like the reason you're a threat can be more threatening to people, especially early. And I think like the strategic, someone who's like super strategic is like often really threatening from the beginning because you don't know what they're going to do. Like versus someone who's like challenged, you know, they're like, oh, they can win a lot of challenges, but you're not as afraid of that at the beginning of the game. So I could see someone like Riley getting that for like early exit as a surprise after coming in second, right? So I said a name, so I got one.
I said the same name. Not knowing her that much.
As far as shock levels, I think I'm gonna go with Brett because I would be extremely shocked if Brett goes pre-merge. But I just feel the devastation starting to creep into my gut as I think about like how if the wrong person like sort of gets a sense of, oh, Brett's running this, or oh, Brett's really good socially, or oh, Brett has more going on than meets the eye, I could see a pre-merge vote going against Brett's favor. Of course, I'm wishing Brett the deepest of runs. Brett, if you're watching this after the game, I'm wishing you the deepest of
Oh,
runs.
you will watch this.
Praying I'm wrong. But when you said shocking, that was the first one that came to mind.
All right, Chris, you're
Yeah,
up.
from the people I know, which is 3 of them, I think it would be most surprising if Aubrey didn't make it at least through the merge. But
I would agree with all of what you said. I would agree with. I think it's going to be tragic no matter what. I've talked to some people on production as we, finalized and locked down this cast and these tribe breakdowns. I'm like, like sometimes you have a season and it's especially easier with people that you don't know to be like, okay, the first boot could be the people I don't know, and it would be like sad, but I wouldn't be but because I've hosted all these people now, and I sort of am like, now I'm like super invested in all their second chance stories. So like the fact that someone's is going to end first and in Premier, it's horrible. So this next question, so the predominant theme, and I guess the big twist for this season is that when players are voted out, they're not voted out for good because they are going to Redemption Island. So with that being said, I'm curious, who do you think is most likely to return from Redemption Island?
Bill, round 4. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go for the Aussie.
Go for the
Honestly, it's a
Aussie.
valid choice.
I
That is
love
a
that
valid
story
choice.
for Bill. I don't know Bill, but I want Bill to get voted out just so he can get back in again.
Are you doing 1 returner or 2?
There'll be 2.
Bill for both.
Bill and Bill. Bill
I
and
mean, that's like
Aubrey come
legend
back
status.
together. That's a story.
Ooh.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm gonna go Corey. I just want to see Corey fight through Redemption out. I don't want to see Corey get voted out, obviously, but unfortunately that's only gonna make the target on Corey's back bigger. But as a fan of the game and a fan of Corey, I want to see it. I want to see Corey beasting Redemption Island duels.
Is there, that's something I feel like we haven't really talked about. Is there anyone on this cast that is like a real challenge threat? Like, I don't.
So yes, in different ways. I would say I'm just going to go down the lists that I see that I have here of the
Yeah.
people based on their performances in their original season. So I would say that Corey is very capable in challenges. I would say that especially in things that are related to puzzles or rely on you thinking outside the box, I actually think that Jessie can do really well. She like won so many comps in Big Brother, so like have to put her up there. Bill is good. Has like really good. He has like those skills that you would expect, like cornhole and like tossing tennis balls in buckets that like sound mundane but are actually like pretty quintessential skills and things that you need to have in LRGs. He's pretty good at. I think that, I don't want to say everyone is. Riley's really good at puzzles. I would say from the Arroyo tribe, if we're looking at people, I think that Barrett's pretty strong all around. Liv is fantastic at anything that requires math, puzzles. Aubrey is just one of those all around people that's like annoyingly good at many things. And then Bradford is pretty good at a lot of the physical stuff too. And Sky's also pretty well rounded, I would say, as well. So Nirvana is pretty strong physically as well. So
Right.
lots
That's
of people.
Yeah, I think if there's a Redemption Island, if there's like a series of battles to come back, I think that maybe the challenge beasts are going to be more likely to dominate there. I know you said Nirvana does like tough mutters or something, so I'll put my money on her.
That's a good pick, actually. I like that pick. Who hasn't answered? So, have you answered?
Didn't
Andy?
answer it. I was also thinking about Nirvana, but now I feel like I can't have the same answer twice as Sarah. So yeah, I'm gonna take to build off the shocking Aubrey early boot. Aubrey's coming back in from the challenge.
There we go. Just building that resume. Did you answer,
That's a
Justin?
nice little story thread too.
No.
Yeah, I said Corey.
Oh, that's right. You did. You did. Who did you say, Chris? Oh my gosh,
I said Bill.
bad. You
So-
did say Bill. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Strong,
All right.
strong.
Okay. Who is most likely to blindside their closest ally?
It's Jer.
The whole list.
Jair's okay. Sarah says Jair.
Well, that was his move in our season. Blindsided
was.
his number one ally. It
Oh,
was super cool. I participated.
Jared's not bad, actually.
I've been blindsided by Aubrey before, so I'm gonna throw it back in there.
Or
I have
Ivy.
also seen Jer backstab his number one ally. Now that we're talking about it,
Oh, okay. It's a trend. Heard.
I love Jer. I didn't talk enough about Jer when we were on him. I love Jer.
We have the same area code. I know. It's a big deal.
Wow.
We're both from the North State.
How about that?
How about that? Andy?
Yeah, like for the people from my season, I don't like necessarily see any of them doing that. So I will also say Jer, because that just seems to be yeah. I don't want to be wrong. I've been so wrong on these wonderful so much that I'd like to be wrong together at least. That would be nice.
Yeah, Jair's a strong pick. I think that Jair is one of those people where he's just like, he's going to be good with you, but I think that he understands that. I mean, you got to swing at a certain point, otherwise you could end up with a game where you're sitting at the end and people are like, yeah, you were loyal, but where's the next step of that? So I think that that's not a.
I still remember like Jer's exact intonation when he approached me about voting out Austin. He was like,
Can you do an impression?
Like, is it time?
That's exactly how Jared does it too.
Like, I think it's time. So badass.
Oh my god, I can see it.
Me too.
Yeah. And I'm like, yes, it's time.
It is time.
You know who I hope blindsides their number one ally?
Sky.
Barrett.
Oh.
I will be behind my screen punching the air if Barrett turns on his number one ally. Proud parent.
I've got 4 more quick most likely questions. Who's the most likely to have the strongest social game?
Sounds like everyone's talking about Aubrey. I haven't even met her, and
Yeah.
I like her.
Concur.
Yeah, I feel like Tay also I think has like could claim that, like really good at making a lot of connections that feel strong but also aren't necessarily apparent to everyone, which I think is like a finer, like, yeah, it's a good skill.
I think Sky could show up here for this one. I think this is also another good one for Jer. I think Jer's social game probably one of his biggest strengths. Now I know Jer has a lot of strengths, but I think best social game I could easily see Jer doing that.
All right, who's most likely to become a challenge beast?
I'm calling a Bill run. I want to see a
I would love to see Bill do it.
run of the Bill.
Or Jen Cho crushing would be fun too.
Jen Cho challenge run? Oh heck yeah!
She's been
Oh, yeah.
practicing, so
She has been
throwing enough
literally
puzzles
practicing.
together. I think we'll.
Oh, Sarah, you're muted.
Yeah, she's got the inside. Gavin has the inside scoop on her.
I mean, I think that if anything that's involving a puzzle, I think that it's as long as she's able to maintain her composure, that she's going to be right up there with anyone. And I think that's actually going to be a boon for her in especially in that tribe phase of the game, because I think that oftentimes people are a little scared to step into the puzzle role. But I think that she's going of the people in this cast, I think that her and Riley, funnily enough on opposite tribes, probably have the most excuse, the biggest excuses to step into those roles, because I think that both of them are just stellar at those in those positions. Did everyone make a pick?
Oh, I didn't say. I think Liv. I want to see Liv go on a challenge run.
I see the vision. I like it. Okay, second to last. Who is most likely to become the fan favorite?
Oh, Bill. Yeah, easy.
I'm giving it to Brett. I'm Brett's number one fan. He's my favorite.
That's such a good question.
It's a tough one.
I could honestly see it being Tay, if I'm being completely honest.
I could see it.
I'm gonna go with Guy. On this one.
All right. I love it. Season 1 representation. Yes, I agree with all of your picks. Yeah, they're all fantastic. Okay, final question. Who is most likely to win the game? It is time to make your winner picks. You have to lock it in right here, right now.
Who has to go first?
I just feel bad doing it. Like, I just feel like it's like doom on you. So I'm going to say I'm the bias. I'm going to pick. I think I'm going to pick Tay as my biased pick. But I think if I had to eliminate the people that I played with, I'm going to go with Nirvana. I don't know why. I just have
Love it. I wasn't ready for that.
For some reason, I can see. We've talked about all the, I think maybe because of the Rick Devens and Suri Fields of it all last night, but the people who aren't necessarily at the front of the pack that we're talking about right now could end up together at the end, and I can see someone like Nirvana making it there and pulling it out.
I think that's a great assessment. Who's next?
Go in order. Justin has to go next.
Fine. I do have one, so I will go.
Okay.
Anything could happen, but I feel like when I look at a winner pick, I look at it almost like in terms of buoyancy when it comes to water. Like, who has the right amount of floatiness to the top when they need to, but also enough to sort of stay below the surface when they need to. I think of who will get heat on them late and be able to work the best under that heat, who is super capable, but like maybe won't have the biggest target going in. And there is some bias here, but it came around the end. I was not expecting for this to be my winner pick when we started this call, but I'm going to go with Liv. I think narratively, I really want to see Liv pull it out. I think she has the skill set. I think she's not the most immediately threatening. I think she's really social. And everything said and done, with all the shots that will be fired throughout this game, I could really easily see Liv being the last one standing. I know she can pitch a hell of a case to a jury, and I feel good. I'm locking it in. As much as I would love to see Barrett win, would love to see Sky win, I'll round out my honorable mentions, but we're locking in Liv.
I love it. All right. So we've got Liv from Justin. Chris.
I think I'm going to go Aubrey. I think if she makes it to the merge, she'll make it all the way through. It's locking in. Maybe she backstabs Bill in the final four to do it, but
I want to see that.
Yeah, honestly, talk about a crazy moment.
We're like building our own season here, aren't we?
Yeah, I was going to say, I already see the trajectory. Like, Bill gets voted out early, returns from Redemption Island, like, does some crazy stuff and builds his resume, and at the end, it's like them two with two other people, and Aubrey knows that if she sits next to her dad, she loses. So she's got to do it.
And if she votes him out, she gets his vote.
That's it.
Bill (dad).
Dad, yeah.
Classic.
Icon.
When this happens and then we get exposed for being scripted or something, I mean it's so perfect.
Date stamp. We're going to date stamp this video. Someone hold up a calendar. All right. Well, I have a winner pick. I, like Justin, was thinking about, to be fair, I am biased. I am choosing somebody who I do know, because I have played with them. But I think they're the right amount of very strategic, but not loud about it. I think they're going to slip under the radar, but make a lot of close allies. And I think as long as they can win where they need to, I think that they're going to have a great story. And I'm going to go with Jer. My 530, my North State. He's from Reading and I'm from Chico. Come on.
What happens when Jer wins 5-3-0?
Oh. Wait a second.
Just the sun implodes. No, I think what's not to like be talking about my own cast again and again. Obviously, that's the season that I know. But like all three of these people, like the way our season shook out is like from like final maybe 7 onward. It was like somebody was lined up to win and then we got them out. So like these are all people who absolutely had a shot to win. I think I honestly think these 3 were like what, 6th, 5th, 4th place or something crazy like that.
Yeah, they literally went out 4, 5, 6. Yes.
Yeah, so like strong showing from season 5, and I definitely want to come by and root them all on. But my undercard pick has got to be Skyy, because I would love to see Skyy win a Survivor LRG. That girl knows how to play. I feel like when she goes out, it's because everyone is scared she's about to win. So yeah, if Skyy can do it, then she's gonna have a baller ass win. Would love to see it.
I love it. Well,
do you have a pick, Gavin? Which do you have?
Yeah, Gavin.
Yeah, Gavin, where's your pick?
Gavin.
Okay, let me think.
Here,
I will provide an answer. Normally I would leverage host privilege and just say I don't want to choose, but I'll choose. Okay, who do I think here is gonna
You haven't thought about this yet?
He was planning
honestly,
on
no.
invoking host privilege.
I really was, and then I was in the moment. I was like, you know what, I'll just do it. I've more been dreading the loss of these people more than I have been anticipating the winner. So I think it's so tough, but I really think that I can see, just to continue pushing back against David's notion earlier, I really think that I could see Riley winning this thing. I still believe that she has what it takes to be able to navigate through the early phase of the game, and I still believe that of the season 6 people, aside from maybe Skyy and Bradford, but of the people on this Floralia tribe, that she's going to be able to weather the storm the best. And so I can see her making great connections at the swap. I think that she would fit in great if she swaps with someone like the Livs, the Aubreys, even the Barretts, the Jers of that tribe. And I just think that she has what it takes in the brain and the challenge acumen to do what she's got to do. So that's my winner pick. And when she's out first, then I will take the crown from you, Andy, of the winner pick of doom, I guess. But regardless, this has been a fantastic episode of The Winner's Circle. Does anyone have any last thoughts about this cast, about this season, before we start to close things out?
Awesome. You've put together such an awesome little world here. I'm very, very grateful to be in it.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to see this culmination, right? Like you've like, it's, feels like in some ways like all the other seasons have been building towards this season, which is like a really fun feeling.
Absolutely. And all I can do is again thank all of you as the winners for coming back and continuing to be such strong representatives of your seasons, but also of Survivor Los Angeles. I have so much fun putting all this stuff together, and it certainly wouldn't be nearly as fun if you all weren't a part of it. And so I'm super grateful that you all are here. Having you all on a call, I said this at the very beginning, was like really surreal, and I just mean it. So in any case, I am so excited for this upcoming season. I don't know what I'm building up to because I'm not going to promote the season because it's already happened by the time they're watching this. So I guess I'll just say thanks to
Season
everyone who
8.
watched.
Season
Season
8.
eight.
Yeah, season 8. Stay
Apply. Want to be on Survivor
Yeah.
Los Angeles?
tuned.
Apply.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the preseason content for season 8.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Woo!